Hey guys, just a video to talk about my favorite books of 2024. At this moment, we are in December and I'm like 50 books read this year, which is quite a lot for me. And my goal this year was 12 books. This is the goal I've had for like many years because I don't like the pressure of like putting, I don't know, 100 books each year. I think 12 is the best for me because that means one book per month, and that's just really chill, really okay for me. I tried to put this book, the books, in order of when I read them. Some of them are like trilogies or like 4 books in a series, things like that. So I just put them together, and it's like when I read the first book around that time. But let's start with The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I don't know if I should talk about like the story, the plot, because the video would be very long. But this, let's do kind of trope. This is magical realism. It is a romance, and I loved it. I read it with my friend Leonie. Together I read other books by Ashley Poston. I really liked her books, and in this kind of universe you also have the Dead Romantics. This one took me a time to like it, not a long time but a few months to read, but this one I just flew through. Of course my friend read it really quickly, but I think at one point I was in front of her, like I was reading faster, and there is like this huge plot twist, and I was like, okay, have you read it? And she had not, so I had to wait like a day, and then she finished it before me. So it was really fun. I love the characters. I haven't read, so there is a third novel, which is a novel love story, I think is the title. I have bought it, but I have not read it. It is in my 2025 TBR video. TBR point. And there is a new one coming around music. I cannot remember the title, but I'm very excited for 2025 for this. This is such a good romance. Love the characters, love the story, especially if you're like me, like past your 20s, nearing your 30s, and you're wondering what is life and what you should do. But yes, I really love this book, and it was romantic and a little bit of magic, so I loved it. After that, I got into like all of the thrillers kind of, but young adults, because I'm too terrified. So I have read all 4 of the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I think the only one I gave 5-star is Killer Instinct. All In, I know, is people's favorite, but it's the one I hated the most. And then Bad Blood, I was like, nah. And there's also like a small novella in Bad Blood, which was alright. But yes, I got into the Naturals so quickly. I'm not into serial killers and things like that. This kind of things just spook me so much, and I hate it. But those books, I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. Her chapters are just so easy to read because it's like 3 pages and you just move on. And it was so good to go inside the story and just binge it. So the kind of plot is, like the tropes is like teenagers got recruited by the FBI. In the beginning, they work on, is it cold case when they're done, like that they don't have any lead, and then they go into like real cases, and of course they attract danger because of their life. But yes, I really love them. The first one is so quick. I just binged it, I think it was last year, and then after I read the rest of the series, so technically this would be my first read of the year, but who cares? I got this pretty edition as well. Really loved it, really wanted it, but it was sold out everywhere, and in the UK you could only buy like the books separately, so I'm really happy with that. I would love to have more about those characters. But you know, 4 books is alright. The romance, even with the Inheritance Game, which is the same author, I wasn't into really the romance because it's always like love triangle, and I don't have the time. But the love triangle kind of goes away pretty fast, the same as the Inheritance Game, so you kind of get over it. Sometimes, of course, they're teenager and this is YA, so sometimes it was like kind of annoying having those, because it's about serial killers and they're like, oh my god, you hurt my feeling, and you're like, you have other things to care about more than this. I put it in order, so this is Just for the Summer by Javi Jimenez. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I don't have the book. I have it physically, but I lend it to my best friend Oriana, and she has not read it yet. But oh my god. So again, this is a romance. And so it's not magical realism, it is really inked in reality. But the characters are so well written. Don't go into this thinking it's only romance, because there are a lot of very heavy topics in this book. But it was so healthy, their relationship was so healthy, and it was very interesting. I know it is the 3rd book in like a series, like interconnected romance. I haven't read the other ones. I will be reading them someday. But you can go into the story without having any other knowledge of like the other books. Justin is chef's kiss. Incredible boyfriend material. He's so good. Even the main character, the girl, I cannot remember her name, I'm so sorry. She was amazing, and you have a lot in this book of mommy issues, so be careful. But it was really a good reading. Again, I think I read this with my friend Leonie, and she was so much quicker than me, and I read a little bit in audiobook, which is when I started getting more and more into audiobook, and the audiobook was amazing. I really loved it. You have 2 points of view, so I think you had 2 voices, and it was just so well done. Loved it. Then this is the first book I read from my 2024 TBR, which is The Borrow a Boyfriend Club by Paige Powers. His next book is coming out next year, which is And There Were Roommates. I have pre-ordered it. I'm so excited to read it. So this is for my weeb friend, Horan High School Host Club, but in a like queer way, which doesn't say a lot, because it is Horan High School Host Club is already so much queer. But yes, this is a trans guy who, to prove that he is a boy to the entire school, who doesn't know he's trans, goes into a club which is like you can borrow them for dates and like events. And it was so funny. I remember laughing so much at this book. It is quite short, and there is a romance which I wasn't too attached, but the main characters I really loved, and the side characters as well. It was so interesting, and I think, yes, there is like not a novella, but like a little short story if you pre-order the next book that I haven't read yet. But yes, and I got the the gift. I don't remember how you the gift you get when you pre-order it, and I cannot wait for When There Were Roommates. Then we got back into thrillers, but young adult thrillers. So, oh, is it in the, yeah. So the first book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. The second is Good Girl, Bad Blood, and the last one is As Good as Dead. I've binged this book so quickly. I really got into thrillers, but young adult, and it was very surprising, but I love those books. This is hard, but oh my god, the last one is just mind-blowing. Also, the last one is very thick. It's in 2 parts, and I read it until like the middle part, which is like the biggest plot twist ever, and I just stopped because I was in denial and I was scared and I just could not do it. And now I have finished it, and I just love Pip and Ravi. I just think they are the best characters. Even the side characters in those books are amazing. And the story as well. I will be reading the other books by Holly Jackson. Maybe it will be part of the reading this author's entire bibliography. I still have, so it is Five Survive, the reappearance of Rachel Price, and I'll also have the novella for this, which is Killjoy, I think, and I put it for my 2025 TBR because again, it will be my last time being with Pip, and I don't want to say goodbye, but the end of this book, oh my god. And I've watched the television show on Netflix, and I gotta say that I was a little bit disappointed, and I will be watching this second season to see how they're gonna move from all of the changes they've done in season 1. But yes, I would highly suggest for you to read the books and not watch the series, even though I love the character, the actors. Then we also have so I hope I will be able to put like the covers of the books, because I'm just terrible at editing, so I don't know if you will see, but I am talking about People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I know the English version is You and Me on Vacation. I have other books by Emily Henry, but this is the only one I read. You have seen it in the in the Reading My Best Friend's favorite books. This is the one I love the most. Like, I know she has great taste because of this. It's also romance, it is friends to lovers, and I do say that I love friends to lovers, but a lot of times when it's friends to lovers, it's like the biggest miscommunication of like, we loved each other since day 1, but we cannot say it, and it's just so annoying. But with this, it's more of like, we're oblivious. We cannot see the signs in front of us, and we thought we were friends, and maybe there's something more, but we got into life and we cherish each other as friends. It was so well written, and I cannot wait to read more books by Emily Henry, especially like the romances. I know she has the next book next year. I think it's April 2025, and it's The Great Big Life, The Great Life, Beautiful Life, something like that. I'm terrible with names. But yes, People We Meet on Vacation, I think the romance was so well written, the characters. Again, it is also good for people who are like 25 plus and who think that they will never get the love story of their life, or who are scared they don't know what to do with their life. It was so good, once again. I think most of the books that I've read and liked were romance this year, which is odd because I don't read that much romance, especially adult romance, because of like how it's written. And sometimes you read a book and it's like 2 pages and it's smut, and then 2 pages and it's smut, and I want consistency. So yes. The next book is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I really hesitated between this and I Kissed Sharon Wheeler, but I think I loved One Last Stop way more. So again, this is magical realism. It is a romance. It is a queer romance between 2 women. Again, the representation, the side characters. I think a story is well done when you are also attached to side characters. I think People We Meet on Vacation, you only get attached to like the 2 main characters because it's really about them. But in other like queer story, you always get the found family and like the side characters that you love as well, and this was so good. There is like the mystery of what is happening and the magical realism, but the romance and the found family was so good. And I think, oh no, I only have 20% battery left. But yes, One Last Stop was one of my favorite read of the year. I think I put it at like 4.5 stars, something like that. So yeah. Another queer romance, oh my god, is Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. I have this wonderful Rainbow Crate edition, and again, this is so happening in like a bachelor kind of things with this guy exes, and those two girls are like ganging up on him, and I just loved it. I think the ending I wasn't sure I liked very much because of how it turned out. But again, the characters, love them. I would read more of that of their romance. The representation is really good. I also have another book from Sophie Gonzalez, and I don't know if I should say this in this or the other one, but it also talks about being bisexual and the expectation that comes with that. I will talk more with the other one. But yes, if you want something with drama and fun and romance, I would highly consider this. No, I would highly suggest this. I don't know how much I'm gonna edit in this video because I'm supposed to post it tomorrow. So yeah, maybe you'll see me stumble with my words, and if you have, then you have not, okay? Okay. The next book, the next two books are gonna be by V.E. Schwab. So this is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is the French version, which is like the most gorgeous version ever. I think I will also buy maybe the English version, but I'm not sure. So this is, I wouldn't say fantasy, it's more magical realism, wouldn't be that either. I don't know how you would describe it. This happens in the real world, but there is magic in this with like link to kind of religion and stuff. This was so good. The character of Addie LaRue goes through so much stuff. The plot is she doesn't want to get old, and so she makes a pact with the devil where she will never get old. But the trick is that she will be forgotten by everyone she meets. And just the simple fact of thinking, oh, she's gonna live forever, for me is like a big no. I would never want to be immortal. But the fact that people forget her is like my biggest fear ever. Like, she cannot leave a trace in this world. Like, there is like kind of painting of her, but no name. She cannot write songs, she cannot do anything, so she has to push a little bit to be part of art. And this was a great like ode to creation and art, and I just loved it. There's also another character who's important, and there is a romance in this, which is Henry, and Henry was also so incredibly well written. This is kind of a massive book. I think it's smaller in English, but in French it's like a chunk. I think the audiobook was like 17 hours. But it's just so beautiful. I was so scared at the end. I was like, okay, this is not going to be a 5-star for me if this happens, and it did not happen, and I was like, thank God, because I would have been so upset. But V. Schwab's story are so well thought. Like, for me, this is, I think she's gonna go into my top writer, because my favorite author is Alice Oseman, but this is like completely different way of writing, and I can tell how much work goes into like thinking of the book and writing it, and it was just incredible. And I think, I don't know how much changes from the first draft to the book we have in our hand, but I think she's so well, like the people who work with her must be so good as well, because this is a solid book. And some people hated it, and I looked at the reviews and I understand why. Of course, it's any book can be for someone and then not be it for another person. Taste and things we like differ from people, and I understand that. But this is a masterpiece, and I felt so connected to the characters and the story. And you know, Addie LaRue lives through so many awful things, and you think, why do you continue? But this fear of dying and not experiencing the world is, I get it. And it was just so incredible. And after that, I thought I was not going to go into another V.E. Schwab story, but I was like, okay, I should finish my TBR. So I read Vicious, and again, so amazing. This is more of like a fantasy. I don't know, because for me, fantasy is more like Tolkien and like Lord of the Ring. This is more of like, this is our world and there are mutants, so they are called extraordinary. And so it is Eli and our main character Victor, who are scientists, and they try something and it just goes into so much thing that changes both of their lives. And you pick up 10 years with Victor, who just goes out of jail, and you get flashbacks of what he is, what happened, and you have new characters that goes in here as well. This is so perfect about right and wrong, like how it's not a clear path. And the cover again is so beautiful. So yeah, you have bones and you have guns and you have I'm guessing, I don't know if this is Eli or Victor, is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You have the black and white, you have knives, you have the red. Just love this. And the second book is Sign. I've got the copy. The only thing I don't like is it's a trilogy, and I could go into the second book, but the third book is not written yet, and it would crush my heart to have to wait. I know V. Schwab is writing it right now. You need to finish it. But I think I would love for her to take the time, because she's a magician. I don't know what she does with words and her books, but it's just drugs. I just love them so much, and I will continue to read them. I also read 2 or 3 years ago this Savage Song. I think it's my first book by V. Schwab, and I need to read the second book, but it's been years. But yes, I need to buy the special edition as well of the second book. I will be reading that. I also have the Shades of Magic trilogy that I will be reading. In this universe, you also have like comic book and things like that. It was just, loved it. And the last book, which we are not at the end of the year, so maybe I will be reading other amazing books. Probably the next book I want to read is As Long as the Lemon Tree Grows, but it is very hard. I tried listening to it at work, but it's heartbreaking, and the fact that it's reality for some people is just, it's very hard. And I want to do this book justice, so I might read it a little bit later. So let's pretend this year is over and this is the last book I read, and if other books will be amazing, that will go into next year. The last book I read is Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez again. I am reading every book written by her. I still have, where are they? I think they're on the other side of my cart. I still have The Perfect Guide Doesn't Exist, The Law of Inertia, If This Gets Out, and she's currently writing another book, which is Nobody in Particulars, and I would like to read all of her books before she comes out with another one. Perfect on Paper is again a romance, young adults, but it's also how would I describe it? So this character, Darcy is writing advice on relationship through a locker and anonymously, so no one knows it's her. And this guy finds out about her and is like, okay, I need you to get back with my ex. And she helps him, but of course, chaos ensue. The thing is, Darcy has done pretty shitty things with her relationship advice because she's in love with her best friend, which I understand. But at the end of the book, she gets called out, and I'm like, okay, fine, I want people to take responsibility for their actions, but her friend are so awful. Like, I feel like no one is there for her as much as she's been for them in like other part of her life. But this was really good to read. I loved the characters, the romance. Again, this is good when you're trying to figure out life, I guess, but those are teenagers. I think she goes to celebrate her 17th birthday or 18th birthday. But it was cute. I just really hated the relationship between Raina and her best friend, which is Raina and Brooke. Like, I just would have preferred if they ended up being separate at the end. Sorry, it's a little bit of a spoiler. But yes, I really think Sophie Gonzalez writes really good story as well. I think this is it. I hope I tried to give a little bit of information about the books without spoiling them. I'm sorry if I didn't give enough information. I cannot remember what I said already. But those are my favorite book of 2024. This is not finished. I hope I will have more 5 stars at the end of the year. But yes, this is everything. Thank you. I hope you liked it, and please watch other videos